Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am glad that you joined me today on Fridays on Excellence Show, where we dig into 6 areas of life and see what we can find to become more excellent through clarity and execution. My name is Scott Kokenauer, and I'm your host, and I'm so glad that you've taken time out to tune in today. I'm especially excited today because, in addition to being live on Facebook and YouTube, we're also speaking live on Clubhouse. If you know what Clubhouse is, it's a new platform, like we need a new platform, but it's actually pretty cool. Anyway, search for Serving Strong and join the vocational excellence room that's going on right now if you're on Clubhouse. Those of you listening on as a podcast, although we're not live right now as you're listening, welcome to you as well. So let's dive right into our first segment of the show, 3 coaching questions. All right. Our first coaching question is, what was it about your best job that made it so good? What was it about your best job ever that made it so good? Question number 2, what would you do even if you didn't get paid to do it? What would you do even if you didn't get paid to do it? And question number 3, what needs to change right now for your employment, your current employment, to improve? Those 3 questions are, as you can tell, we are talking about vocational excellence. And, our vocation has changed dramatically in the last year or so. This time last year, at the beginning of February, we really had no idea what we were going to be facing. But those 3 questions, the power is in how you keep them in front of mind all week long. So between now and next Friday, I encourage you to write down 1 or 2 or all 3 of these questions and keep them visible. If you're doing Zoom meetings all week, stick a Post-it note on your screen and have these questions in front of you, because it's not so much how you answer right away, it's how you reflect on them all through the week. And do this every day. After all, it all comes down to the walk. Always comes down to the walk. All right. Let's get into segment number 2 of our show, 2 pillars of excellence. Our first pillar is the acronym 3P80. 3P80. Those of you who have coached with me, you know what this 3P80 thing is. If you've never heard it before, we're going to talk about it right now. That's the first pillar. What we're talking about basically is you as an employee. So if you're listening to this broadcast and you are currently employed by someone else, you are working for someone else, here is some help or some insight that might help you. I know it's helped me. So you'll see on this outline, and I'll put, for those of you in the podcast listening in, I will put the link to this site in the show notes, in the description, so that you can see what we're talking about. But what we're doing is we're opening up what I use is Workflowy, and we are seeing a Workflowy file open up. And so we're talking about 3P80. What is 3P80? All right. Well, it means 80% of your working hours aligned with your 3Ps. Spending 80% of your working hours aligned in what are your 3Ps. So what do we mean by 80%? Well, let's open that up. Let's say you work 8 hours a day. 80% of an 8-hour day will be 6.4 hours. leaving 1.6 hours that you don't have to have aligned. Now, why are we using 80? Why aren't we using 100%? Well, because every job has its moments, right? Every job has those things that you have to do, and there's no way around it. What I'm encouraging you to do is to align what you do 80% of the time with your three P's. All right. So let's talk about those. Open that up. What are the three P's? Well, they are passion, personality, and proficiency. Those are your three P's. The first one, we'll talk about passion. What is passion? Well, a lot has been written about passion. A lot has been said about passion. Generally speaking, what my definition of passion is, it's something you care deeply about. It's something you would be involved in even if there was no paycheck associated with it. Something that you really love to do, that when someone asks you that question, a question related to your passion, you light up and you can't stop talking about it. That is passion. Personality. Um, Now we talk about orientation and pace when we're talking about personality. Let's look at orientation. Your orientation is you are either more people related or oriented or task oriented. Think of it like a continuum, and if you were to go to the middle where you were 50-50 people or task, which would you think you would lean more toward? More toward people or more toward task? That's the first continuum. The second continuum is pace, and that is either fast paced or methodical. Fast paced means you're impatient, you make decisions quickly, and you get a lot of things done. Now, methodical individuals will think things through a bit. They don't like to be put on the spot. They like to mull things over. They are more inclined to do the three questions and keep them with them than the fast-paced who just want to have the answer to the questions and move on. So those are your two continuums, the orientation and pace. People task is one orientation, and then fast methodical. Now, what does this mean to the personality types? All right. Well, there are four. Generally, there are four. The first is fast paced people. Fast paced people. See how we're doing people and fast. These are your outgoing, fun loving, enjoy the ride people. These people remind all of us to have fun in the process. And that's the fast people. Now let's go to fast task. Fast paced task people are your leaders, your go getters. They're the lion of the jungle, the king of the jungle. It's their way or the highway. They're very competitive and they're fast task. They're looking to conquer. If you are that person, you know that's who you are. If you're not, you know some people in your existence who are fast paced task individuals. They make things happen. Now let's move to the methodical side. Methodical paced people are pastoral. They're empathetic. They feel what other people feel, and they're very caring. That's the methodical paced people person. And fourthly, the methodical paced task. This is the busy person. They are detailed. They are highly organized. So if I were putting a team together, I would say I would bring on an entrepreneur who is fast-paced task. I would bring on an HR person who is very good at engaging with individuals. Then I would bring on someone who was methodical paced people who uh, developed the employees on my team. And finally, I would bring on a methodical paced task person to handle all of the administrative and financial issues and things that have to be done on a regular basis. If you have those 4 different personality types, you've got a tremendous team. Okay, so that is personality. Let me recap and let me also welcome you if you've just joined me. This is the Fridays on Excellence show where we dig into 6 areas of life and see how we can become more excellent. The area of life we are focusing on right now is the vocational excellence, the vocational area. And what we're talking about is employee excellence. And we're talking about the formula 3P80, spending 80% of your working hours engaged in activities and tasks that are aligned with your 3Ps. And we talked about passion, personality. The third is proficiency. And basically, proficiency is something that you do that just simply comes natural. Um, you are what is called unconsciously competent, meaning you do it and you don't have to think about doing it. That is having a proficiency. Those are your 3Ps. All right. So if you can, as an employee, spend 80% of your working hours aligned with your passion, personality, and proficiency, then you will live a more fulfilled existence, because if you're working a 40-hour a week a job, you are going to be spending most of your waking hours engaged in work. And if you can spend 80% of that majority of your waking hours working where your passion lies, working where you're aligned with your personality, and you're good at what you do, then you're going to be more fulfilled. Now, I can almost hear you asking, I can almost hear the questions that are going through your mind. And I picked out 2 questions that you are likely to ask as an employee. If you're listening to this and you're an employee, and you're trying to figure out this 3P80 thing. So the 2 questions are, the first one is, what if I don't have a say in what I do at work? That's a very fair question. What if I don't have a say? I can't choose what I do. The boss tells me what I have to do, and there's no way I can get that 80%. Well, I've done a search on Google, and I basically said, I have no say in my work. And you can see there's a link here that's going to take us to the Google search. That's when you don't have a choice about what you do at work. There are 3.93 billion results, and it took 7.77 seconds to get that result on the phrase, when you don't have a choice about what you do at work. So you look at the first page of results, and right off the top, personalexcellence.co. You always have a choice. Personal excellence. Pretty interesting. There's another one, mindfulambition.net. You don't have to do anything. You always have a choice. And then we start getting into business. Your mind is your business. It's never true that you don't, and then you move on to that result. You can see down through here, Psychology Today talks about you have no choice. Making a career choice when you don't have any idea what you want to do. There are a lot of resources embedded in this search, and I've created a very quick bit.ly link, bit.ly/no say in my work, all lowercase. You can see that on the screen, those of you who are watching live, and you go to that, and it will take you to that very page of search results. Here's the thing. Around here, when we talk about excellence, we're talking about becoming the fullest expression of your unique God-given design. And that requires 2 general areas of topics. One is getting clarity. What is that design that you have been given by God that is unique to you? So clarity is the big thing. The second is execution. So you get clear and you execute. Execute breeds clarity. And so it's a cycle. You get clear, you execute, get more clear, you get clear. So when I say execution or action, there's always something we can do. There's always something we can do. And what I'm suggesting is that if you don't have a say in what you do at work to create a 3P80, you can do something about that. Look it up. Start out by researching on this link. Start reading, start immersing yourself into what you can do. The second question is, how do I talk to my boss about realignment? All right. Well, I've done the same thing, and it's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/boss I'm not happy, all lowercase. So let's click on that. So the phrase that I searched was, how do I talk to my boss about work I don't want? And we got 633 million hits in a fraction of a second. The first result is, how do I tell my boss I don't want to work in the office? Another one is, how to tell your boss you're not happy at work. How to tell your boss when you're underperforming. How to talk to your boss when you're underperforming. How to effectively talk to your boss, 25 do's and don'ts. So again, here is something you can do. We started out by, how can I be vocationally excellent as an employee? And my suggestion is, try to move toward that 3P80, spending 80% of your working hours engaged in what is aligned with your passion, personality, and proficiency. And if you don't have a say in your work, there's something you can do. If you don't know how to talk to your boss about realigning what you do, there's something you can do. That is enough about the first pillar, which is vocational excellence as an employee. Let's move to pillar number 2. That has to do with if you are a leader. If you're a leader, you can work on vocational excellence as well. And what we use is the acronym MOGE, M-O-G-E. Let's look at those 4. MOGE stands for what must be done, that only you can do, that you're good at, that you enjoy. MOGE, must, only, good, enjoy. Now, what we're talking about is every organization is a pile of actions. No matter what industry you're in, where you're located in the world, how big you are, how many divisions you have, one thing that every organization has, even down to a solopreneur, is that they are a collection of actions. And those actions are triggered by milestones, due dates, or events. Now, that's a whole different episode that we would have to uncover or unpack. But basically, everybody in your organization comes to work and does certain tasks. And you're no different as a leader, as the entrepreneur, as the founder, as the CEO, or leader of a team. There are things that you do. What I'm asking you to do is run everything you do through this filter of MOGE. Take a task and ask yourself, is this what must be done? That's the first criteria. Now, we talked about organizations equal a pile of actions. Not all actions are mission critical to the organization. There are things that must be done that if they're not done, you will fail. So get yourself engaged as the leader in those things that must be done, the mission critical things. The second criteria is that only you can do. Not everything can be delegated. Of course, not everything can be accomplished either. You've been given a package of time and energy every morning, and there's only so much time and energy that you can give in any one given day. And rhythm is very important. But not everything can be delegated. You need to look at all of your activities and ask yourself, am I the only one that can do this job or this task? The third criteria is tasks that you're good at, those things that come naturally. Like we said with the employee in 3P80, what is it that you are unconsciously competent at doing? If you're doing what must be done that only you can do and you're good at it, you will maximize the impact that you individually have on the organization. The fourth criteria is activities that you enjoy doing. It's something that you find satisfaction doing. Again, kind of talking about the 3P80 again, these are tasks that match your passion, personality, and proficiency. These are in a listed by importance. So when we look at MOGE, if you can't have tasks that you enjoy, your next best thing about what you do is what must be done that only you can do that you're good at. Now, if there are tasks that you have to do that you're not good at and you don't enjoy, then you have to have what must be done that only you can do. Now, I wouldn't drop any lower than that. You have to at least be doing those tasks that must be done and are things that only you can do. That's MOGE. Now, as a leader, you also probably have questions about having just the tasks that match all four criteria. Your questions might be, what if I'm the only one in my company? For those of you listening to this or watching this and you are a solopreneur, there's no one to delegate to. So how do I not do the things that have to be done, or how can I get it all done? Well, just like when we were talking about employee excellence, we need to search, and I've put a link together, bit.ly/I'm the only one, no apostrophe, all lowercase, bit.ly or bit.ly/I'm the only one. Now let's open that one up. Here we get 561,000 hits. Probably enough. All right. The first result in our Google search is how to get it all done as a single mom solopreneur. 6 ways to turbocharge your solopreneur productivity. 5 tools to help solopreneurs get more done every day. Solopreneur, 11 tips for when you are forging it on your own. And that's all based on the phrase, how to get it all done as a solopreneur. So, so that's what you need to do, is look into what you can do if you are the only one in your company. Remember, execution means there's something you can do. You can actually do something about the fact that you're the only one in your company, and you can work toward leadership excellence. So what if you also had the question, how do I delegate in such a way that I am successful? Maybe you've tried delegating before and it hasn't worked. You've experienced what is called reverse delegation, where what you've delegated to somebody, they've come back and they've said, how do I do this? How do I do that? Is it okay that I do this? Is it okay that I do that? Can you do this for me? That cycle is just so draining on you as a leader and on the organization. So it's very important that you lean into how to delegate more effectively. And as you would imagine, I put together a link that will take you to a Google search that I have done for you, which is bit.ly/successful delegation. bit.ly/successful delegation. all lowercase. Let's open that link up and let's see. We got 18.5 million hits, and you've got some extra questions here. Use the following principles to delegate successfully. Clearly articulate the desired outcome. Clearly identify constraints and boundaries. You can see all of these results. We have a wealth of information that is at our fingertips. Literally on your phone, you can Google a phrase like this: how to successfully delegate. And you can begin to do something about your lack of successful delegation. So that is the leader's vocational excellence. I want to encourage you too that I've put this workflowy outline in, I've created it so that you have access to it as well. It's bit.ly/vocational excellence, all lowercase. So those are your two pillars. And now let's move to the takeaway. Okay, your takeaway is simply download the vocational excellence sheet. It is a sheet that I've created based on the outline. And I'm going to show you here. You go to servingstrong.com. You head over to resources and slide down to Friday live show. And you scroll down to the downloads section. And it's right here. It's vocational excellence. I will put a link in the show description for those of you listening on podcast. And when you click on that, it'll open up in another page the outline of what we were talking about today. Everything that we've talked about today is on this outline. Even the links, they're hyperlinks. They take you to those Google searches that we talked about. That is your takeaway. So I hope this has been very helpful to you. It has been very helpful to me. I am working on my own vocational excellence. I happen to be a solopreneur, so I'm figuring out how I get it all done. And I'll tell you, if you're a solopreneur and you've got a lot of stuff to do and you don't know how to keep up, maybe you've spent a lot of time marketing and now you're getting clients and now you're trying to figure out how do I market and serve my clients. I don't want to let either ball drop. Well, I'll tell you one thing I have recently started, and that is a serious approach on block time. Blocking time in your calendar where the only thing you do are specific things, say on Monday mornings, on Tuesday afternoons, on Wednesdays at night, whatever your block time is, you reserve it just like you would a time that you set with a prospect or a client. So I hope this has been very helpful to you. This has been another episode of the Fridays on Excellence, where we dig into 6 areas of life and see what we can find to become more excellent through clarity and execution. I'm Scott Kokenauer, and I'm so glad that you took the time out to tune in, and I will see you next week.